Howdy folks, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, and boy oh boy do I have a spectacular game for you today. This is Bad Wolf in the premium tier 5 Japanese destroyer, the Kamikaze R. It's not generally available in the premium gift shop or within the in-game tech tree. This is one of the ships that is usually only put on sale during a special event. It was on sale recently on the EU server. I managed to snap myself up one of them. But I have never had, while it is a fantastically good little destroyer, I've never had a result that even approaches the sheer levels of spectacular and awesome that Bad Wolf manages to achieve with his Kamikaze R in this game. Strap yourselves in and stand by to be amazed. Oh, Jingles, not another Japanese destroyer captain who just gets lots and lots and lots of battleship kills by sailing around outside a detection range and spamming his torpedoes into unsuspecting targets. Well, I'm not going to say he doesn't do that. But, well, how can I put this? Bad Wolf uses tactics that would be considered suicidal for most Japanese destroyer captains. In fact, tactics that wouldn't look out of place for an American destroyer captain, and that's what makes this replay, not just the result that you're going to see, but also the way that he gets that result, is what makes this replay one of the most spectacular ones I have ever seen. Taking a look at the teams, they both do appear to be pretty well balanced. Both teams have exactly the same type and number of ships. There are some minor differences in the lineups, however. The cruisers, both teams have 4, and they are very evenly matched. Bad Wolf's team does have a very, very slight destroyer advantage. Both teams have 4 destroyers, but the enemy team has 1 tier 4 and 3 tier 5, and all 4 of the destroyers on Bad Wolf's team, including himself, are tier 5. And the enemy team do have a small battleship advantage. 3 of their 4 battleships are tier 5, and well, that's not something that you can say about Bad Wolf's team, but other than that, the matchmaker seems to have done a pretty good job. Also, of course, no aircraft carriers, so that's really good news for the destroyers. They're unlikely to get spotted by aircraft that they can't avoid. And the first couple of enemy ships start to pop up. There's a Königsberg who was the first one detected, so he's the first one to come under fire, and the battleships on Bad Wolf's team have just scored at least 1 citadel against him, and then other ships start to pop into line of sight. Now, remember, there are 4 destroyers on the enemy team, so just because these are the ships that we can see doesn't necessarily mean that those are the only ships out there. There could be destroyers screening these guys. So this is going to be a particularly anxious moment for Bad Wolf as he closes the range to get within his 7-kilometer torpedo range, but tries to stay outside of his 5.4-kilometer surface detection range while he lines up his first stealth attack against what looks like he's going for the enemy Omaha. Which makes sense, because the Omaha is the more immediate threat, and if he wants to get to any of those big fat juicy battleships behind them, he's going to have to kill the Omaha, and he has not been detected, which means these cruisers and battleships are operating without a destroyer escort. So, first, second and third sets of torpedoes in the water, Omaha's in range, peels away, managed to get his fish in the water without being detected. Now, I don't know whether or not that Omaha actually suspected that there were destroyers in the area. Perhaps he did. And if he did, he's done exactly the right thing. He's adjusting his course and speed, so all of those torpedoes are going to miss the Omaha. The New York behind him, on the other hand, is not going to be quite so lucky. He's actually going to sail straight into 2 of them, even though they weren't specifically aimed at him. And one of them has knocked out his engine. The New York is now almost certainly going to be using his damage repair ability to get his engine back up, which means that any subsequent torpedo hits, if they don't kill him, he's not going to be able to do anything about the flooding. Bad Wolf has been detected. He strayed within 5.4 kilometers, which means this New York now has absolutely no excuse if he gets hit by any of these torpedoes. Now, Bad Wolf did not stay spotted for long, so the Omaha wasn't able to take advantage of it, and in fact the Omaha has his own problems. He's taken volleys of fire from numerous battleships and cruisers, and that looks like a couple of citadels from a friendly cruiser there. The New York is only now turning to avoid the torpedoes. He leaves it until he's seen them in the water, and he does the best he can, but he left it far, far too late. So the New York's down, and the Omaha is in serious trouble. And this is when Bad Wolf does something highly unorthodox for a Japanese destroyer captain. He fires his guns. But when you're shooting at a lightly armoured cruiser that only has 80 health, and your guns are pointed in that direction anyway, and there's nothing else there that's going to spot you if you should become detected, fire the guns. You lose nothing by doing it. Coming up is the point where you're going to see Bad Wolf do something spectacular. he's about to get himself into the kind of situation where any sane destroyer captain would pop smoke and or their engine boost, turn around, haul ass and get the hell out of there. But he doesn't do that. This is amazing. He's coming around the side of the island. A couple of enemy ships spotted. It looks like he's going for the Kirov. Now obviously you don't want to be engaging a Kirov in a gunfight, so he's setting up for a torpedo attack. And then he gets spotted in the open by one of the enemy kamikazes. His guns are pointing in that direction anyway, so he opens fire, but that Kirov is not alone. There is also a Königsberg class cruiser out there. This is the point where any sane destroyer captain would turn around and run. 2 tier 5 cruisers, either of which could kill him, and a destroyer. Running away's for pussies. Bad Wolf guns the engine, engages his WASD hacks, avoids the torpedoes, and charges into the cover of the smokescreen laid down by the enemy kamikaze. He's no longer detected. Those 2 cruisers are now firing blind. But remember, a smokescreen is a torpedo magnet, and friendly ships on his team are piling torpedoes right into that smokescreen as he's charging into it. This is just insane. The cruisers have lost sight of him, so they're turning to fire at other targets. But he's only bought himself a temporary reprieve. As soon as he sees that enemy kamikaze, those cruisers are going to start shooting at him again. There's his torpedoes. They're not a threat. There he is. He has to nail this guy quick, because the second he's been spotted again, those cruisers are going to start firing at him. His guns aren't going to kill him fast enough. Fires the torpedoes ahead of his track. And boom! Kamikaze killed in his own smokescreen, and with the kamikaze dead, he is no longer being detected because he's still inside the enemy kamikaze's smokescreen. So now, none of those enemy ships can see him anymore. Even worse, they can't see the majority of the friendly ships that are coming up behind him because of the smokescreen dropped by the enemy destroyer. They can see 1 or 2 of those massive friendly ships that are coming around behind Bad Wolf, and they're obviously shooting at the ones that they can see, but they can't see most of them. And they have no option but to stand and fight, shooting at the targets that they can see while taking all kinds of hits from the whole bunch of targets back there that they can't see, because Bad Wolf's inside their cap circle. So they have to stay and defend it. But Bad Wolf doesn't want to win by capping, he's just getting warmed up. Don't forget, however, there are still 2 enemy destroyers. We can see the Kamikaze R over there, who's been spotted by what looks like a friendly New York, and there's the Minikaze. He's dropped smoke. Bad Wolf doesn't want to fire now that he's no longer spotted because the Minikaze dropped smoke and can't see him. That might extend his detection range far enough that the cruisers behind him would be able to see him, so instead he fires some torpedoes. Friendly torpedoes in the water, careful to avoid those. Friendly Phoenix, possibly an Omaha, looks like he took some hits from torpedoes that had been launched by the Minikaze before he was detected, and things are getting awfully hot around here. Bad Wolf slows down, pops his smoke screen, and you've got a Congo at a range of less than 6 kilometers. The Congo, if you'd been paying attention to the map, must have seen Bad Wolf pop up when the Minikaze detected him. And even if he hadn't been paying attention to the map, because it's easy to miss in the heat of battle, Bad Wolf didn't stay detected for long. There's a dirty great big smoke screen less than 6 kilometers away on his starboard beam. Now, I'm no great naval strategist, but if I see a smoke screen 4 kilometers away from me and I don't see a friendly destroyer in it, there's a fairly good chance it's been laid by an enemy destroyer. And destroyers fire torpedoes, so what you don't want to do is turn the side of your ship so the destroyer cannot possibly miss and hits you with every single torpedo that he fires. So that's got to be the easiest 50,000 damage I've ever seen anybody do in a game of World of Warships. It's as if the Congo said, here I am, let me just make it as easy as possible as I can for you. There you go, side of the ship, big enough target? Fantastic. Congratulations on your second devastating strike. Next up, let's see if we can see some kind of pattern emerging here. It's another Tier 5 battleship. It's the American New York. This time Bad Wolf's feeling a bit generous. He doesn't have a smoke screen, he's not going to be firing these torpedoes off from outside of detection range. He's going to get as close as possible to this New York to give him every possible chance to A, shoot him, or B, turn head on to reduce the number of torpedoes that are going to hit him. Bad Wolf has now been detected. At this point, it doesn't look as if the New York has actually realised that there's a kamikaze closing in on him. He's just fired his main battery gun's broadside against another target all the way over to the right. And then he actually, seriously, look, you can see it happening. I'm not making this up. He did have the ship pointed straight at the oncoming threat. But that would just be too easy, wouldn't it? So instead he turns the side of the ship on, because clearly Bad Wolf hasn't done enough damage for one day. I don't even... Did you not see what happened to the Congo? It was right in front of you. How can you not be aware? I've got nothing. Sorry. I have no idea what's going through the brains of these battleship captains. Well, aside from 610mm torpedoes, I mean, they're clearly going through their heads. But other than that, no idea. None whatsoever. 3 ships remaining on the enemy team, and they're all spotted, so no more surprises from this point on. Who's he going to go for first? His torpedoes are back up. The Königsberg's looking like the likely victim. He is adjusting his course and speed, however. Let's wait for him to settle down. He does, however, now have an island off to his port side, so that's going to limit his ability to make any kind of drastic manoeuvres to port. So, conscious of the fact that the Königsberg is actually manoeuvring, Bad Wolf doesn't just fire his torpedoes straight down the target track. He spreads them around a little bit, peels away, safely well outside of detection range. Let's see what happens with these torpedoes. Yep, the majority are going to miss, but enough of them are going to hit.
Enemy cruisers sunk.
5th kill, Kraken unleashed, and yet another devastating strike to add to his tally. 2 enemy ships remaining. The Minakaze is still out there, and the Minakaze on the enemy team has done very, very well. He's managed to get 4 kills, but he's spotted, and being spotted is a death sentence for a destroyer, so the Minakaze pops a smokescreen after taking a nasty clip from, I'm not sure, I think it might have been the Congo. But the thing about smokescreens is they work both ways. Nobody can see you if you're inside a smokescreen, but you can't see anything outside of the smokescreen either. Every time you see one of these World of Warships replays where there's a destroyer sitting inside a smokescreen launching torpedoes with impunity at all kinds of targets outside of the smokescreen, they can only do that if somebody else is spotting those targets for them. So he's now able to, I mean, once again, he's using the enemy team's smoke screens to his own advantage. The Minakaze can't see him through the smoke, so he's able to skirt around without fear of getting shot at by the Minakaze and come around and line up for a torpedo attack on this Miyogi. He fires some torpedoes into the smoke anyway, because, hey, you never know. Smoke screens are torpedo magnets, and if the Minakaze is just sitting there stationary inside the smoke screen, there's a decent chance that he's going to hit him, but, well, the Minakaze is on 4 kills. He's not that stupid, and he has now been detected because he sailed within 5.4 kilometers of the Miyogi. So that Minakaze is going to be sitting in there thinking, actually, no, too late, you missed your window of opportunity. He's now outside of detection range of the Miyogi as well. And the Miyogi, bless him, he does the best he possibly can under the circumstances. He sees the destroyer and he turns. And he avoids the majority of all of the torpedoes fired at him, which is not easy to do in the Miyogi. It's a very, very slow turning ship. So he managed to do what the Congo and the New York couldn't, so there's some great hope for his future as a battleship player. Unfortunately, turning away from the torpedoes meant that he had to present the broadside of his ship to the Congo. And he's kind of lucky here because the Congo isn't really able to capitalise on that and score some citadels. So, Bad Wolf has guns. While the Miyogi's defending himself against the Congo in this furious broadside duel, you may as well use them. You might set him on fire. And that's when Bad Wolf actually starts taking some hits. It's the Minakaze. He essentially used his smokescreen as a decoy to attract fire, dropped it, and then used it to skirt around to the other side of the island where he's just popped up, and he's taking shots at Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf launches torpedoes, not against the Miyogi, but against the Minakaze. And then ignores the Minakaze, and in fact even ignores the fact that he's on fire, and just switches back to the Miyogi. Torpedoes, now too much danger of hitting the Congo, and just carries on working him over with his guns. Because here's the thing about the Minakaze, its guns are pretty terrible, and they turn very, very slowly, so if you want to keep firing at a fast-moving target like a destroyer, you have to sail at the same course and speed. And that's going to be the end of the Minakaze, because he sails right into the torpedoes. And then the Congo finishes off the Miyogi. 6 kills. Not 5, not just a Kraken, 6 kills. He killed half of the enemy team. And the thing is, he could have gotten 8 kills. If he'd managed to get enough burning damage going against that Miyogi at the end, he could have claimed the kill on that guy. And let's not forget the Omaha that got chased off at the beginning of the match. 80 health remaining when Bad Wolf started shooting at him. It was just unlucky that somebody else took that kill. This could have been an 8-kill match. Easily. That is pretty impressive. Bad Wolf would like to express his thanks to the battleship players on the enemy team, in particular the Congo and the 2 New Yorks, without whom that 171,000 damage done with mostly torpedoes probably wouldn't have been possible. And let's also not forget to thank the enemy Kamikaze R, without whose smokescreen Bad Wolf would probably have died halfway through that match. This battle almost had it all. Drama, tension, comedy. All it was missing was romance. So Bad Wolf, that's your mission, should you choose to accept it, for the next replay that you send in. And thank you very much for sending this one in. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's it for today. As always, take care, have fun playing whatever you're playing, and I'll catch you next time.